Thank you for joining us today for our Getting Started with Canvas webinar. My name is Carla Jimenez and I'm the coordinator of family and community engagement and also a parent of a high school student and a kindergartner in U46. I'm really looking forward to this session and the much information we will receive to help guide our children with our new learning management system called Canvas, and then to also continue encouraging our students during distance learning. So I ask that if you can, bring along your computer or your mobile device to follow along, or just go ahead and listen in and try it out later. What we'll do is provide you with the website links in that chat box, so make sure that you have that open during this presentation. Also, this webinar is being recorded and it will be posted on our website at u-46.org/webinars, and it will also be sent to you via email. Any questions that you may have during this webinar today, please include them in the Q&A box, which is located at the bottom of your screen. We will have some time toward the end of the presentations to answer these questions. We do ask that you please do not include any identifying information, as this is a public forum and it is being recorded. So now what I'll do is introduce our presenters. I want to thank Lori Lopez. She's our coordinator of distance learning. And then Amy Ingente as well, who is our coordinator of math K through 12. And she's going to be helping us with the Q&A portion today. So now, without further ado, I'll hand it over to Lori.
Good morning, everyone. And thank you, Carla, for that introduction. Again, thanks to all of you for joining us this morning and taking time out of your busy day. We're going to go ahead and get started right away. And I'd like to start by just quickly reviewing our topics for today. As you know, you are in the webinar for understanding Canvas just a little better. First, we do want to leave you with an understanding of why we are using Canvas and why we are using it across the board in all of our U46 schools. We also want you to know how to access Canvas as both a student and a parent or guardian. And lastly, we really want you to know where to go for assistance regardless of your question, as well as we'd like to support you becoming your own best resource for your use with Canvas. So really, what is Canvas? And many of you are well into your students' Canvas accounts. You've discovered that students are really well on their way to navigating assignments, discussions, different announcements via their Canvas account. As I said, all U46 students are using Canvas as their digital classroom during their learning this year. Canvas is the learning management system we are using. What this system does for us is it really streamlines all the classroom work to one location for all students and for all parents. And it's very important to emphasize that students will visit their Canvas account daily in order to access the links that they need to attend class virtually via Zoom, in order to communicate with their classmates and their teacher. They'll be able to see their assignments and all of their assessments. So as I said, your students' daily access to Canvas is really critical to their success. So today we do want to spend some time making sure that both you and your student are able to access this. And this can happen in a couple of different ways. The first way I'd like to share with you is access to Canvas via Clever. And Clever is the screen that students see, or the icon that they can see right when they log into their U46 issued device. And you can see the little Clever icon here. The screen looks like this image. Clever is right here. That is what they will need to click on to access Canvas. If your student is working on a non-issued U46 device, they may also access Clever by going to the U46 homepage, and that address is right up here, u46.org. Once they get to the main homepage, or if you go this direction, you'll see some quick links, a label for a menu of really incredibly helpful links to different sites. Our school calendar that gives you those A and B days and what an elementary day should look like. But at the very bottom of that quick link menu is the Clever button. And again, this is the avenue that you would go if you are on a non-issued school U46 device. Now what happens once you click into the Clever button, once you're in Clever, you'll see a number of different student apps that are available. You may see a textbook link, all sorts of different things, but it's in here that you will look for, or your student will look for, this red sunburst icon. And once your student clicks on that icon, voila, they will be into their Canvas account. Now, what should that look like once they're into Canvas? Before we get to that, I do want to mention one other way that your student can get into Canvas, and actually this is the way that I prefer, and that is through the same way that they access their student Gmail account. And again, this is what I think is a quick way for me to do it. In this case, your student would click on that waffle, what has widely become known as the waffle, or the grid of the 9 small little gray boxes that you see here. They would click on that, and again, a page would open with multiple icons on it, and you would look for that sunburst image. This is Canvas. They will click on the icon and enter their Canvas account. Now we are into Canvas. What will we see first? Many of you have already seen this, particularly if you have early elementary grade level students, but what you will see when you enter here is something like what you would see here on the screen. However, your student would most likely have multiple tiles. If you're a student as an elementary student, you'll most likely see a tile that looks a lot like this, first grade, second grade, something along those lines. But what you will see on that dashboard are multiple tiles, what I am calling tiles, or what you see here. And in elementary, you might see literacy, a literacy tile, a math tile, a PE tile, etc. If your student is in middle school or high school, they will obviously have multiple tiles as well, and these will reflect the courses that they are enrolled in: history, English, math, etc. Let's imagine that we're clicking on this course, history. In this case, it'll be first grade. And let me show you what you will see if you haven't already discovered this for yourself. So once you click on the tile that you desire, you'll enter into the course itself and see a version of what you would see here. And there's a menu on the left side here. Depending on what your student's grade level and course and teacher preferences are, this will allow you to, as you see, navigate assignments or modules, which holds a lot of the course content, their grades, and again, depending on the teacher preferences, other specific information. One of the things we've really encouraged teachers to do is make their Zoom link very clear to students and parents. In this particular case, you see the Zoom meeting link right at the bottom of the screen. On the right side here, you'll often see a to-do list. If the teacher has posted a due date for assignments, you'll see a list of what what is due and when it is due. You might also see a calendar on this site as well. So you can see there's a great deal of information. And one of the things I wanted to stress with you is that I said something about student or teacher preferences. Every dashboard is unique to a student because it has their courses, and every teacher's page, what I'm going to call your home page once you enter the course, may look and will look a little bit different. Sometimes when you open a teacher's homepage or there's course, you'll see their syllabus on their opening page, or you'll see an announcement or list of things to do. And as I said, in this case, you're seeing a tile welcoming students to first grade along with a Zoom link. It's all really quite simple, given that it is first grade. Now, I'm hoping you're wondering, if you're haven't already been into one of your students' courses, how you can get in to these courses yourself. You can become a Canvas user. And we want you to really consider, particularly if your student is in upper elementary, middle school, or high school, becoming an observer of your students' courses. What this will allow you to do is see what your students are seeing. You can see their course announcements, their assignments, their due dates, their grades, and you can also communicate with the teacher via their Canvas account. So becoming an observer as a parent is particularly important. So one of our priorities today is introducing you to how you can become a Canvas observer. And what I'd like to do with you right now is watch a very short video. It's about 2 minutes as to how you can become a Canvas observer for your students' courses. So we're going to watch just a couple of minutes here.
In this video, parents and guardians can learn about Canvas Instructure, the learning management system selected for School District U46 online classes, and how to create an observer account that links with their student's account. To create your account, your student must have already generated a pairing code. To do so, after clicking the waffle on their Gmail account, they will click the Canvas icon. They will then navigate to Account on the left-hand side, down to Settings, and then over on the right to Pair with Observer. Pairing codes expire after 7 days or after their first successful use. A student can have 5 active pairing codes at one time. If a student has 5 active pairing codes and a new pairing code is generated, the oldest pairing code will become inactive. Then, in a web browser, navigate to u46.instructure.com/login/Canvas. Click at the top, Parent of a Canvas User. Enter your name, your email, your password, and your student pairing code, and click the Terms of Agreement. Copy and paste your student pairing code. And then finally, click Start Participating.
Again, I'd like to encourage you to set up your observer account, particularly if your student is in the upper elementary grades, middle school, or high school grades. On your screen right now, you'll see the link that you will need to provide or to go to access in order to enroll. Once you put this link in, it will guide you to the Canvas login page. Once you're there, again, as the video indicated, you will need to click on the parent of a Canvas user. The next screen, once you achieve access, will, as the video indicated, require you to enter your email, password, and then that link that you needed your students' help in achieving, that pairing link you'll paste in here the one your student provided. Now, you don't need to write this all down. If you go to either the u46.org page, there is a link for this. There is also this Canvas for Parents on every single school website, and that will lead you directly to this. Again, I would encourage you, particularly if your students in an upper elementary, middle school, or high school year, to use this pairing link and set up your Observer account. I do want to mention, should you have additional students, Carla's got a beginning kindergartner and a high school student. I would really, if I were talking to her, encourage her to set one up for her high school students so that she can see all of the courses that her student is enrolled in. And this just gives a quick outline. Once you're in your Observer account, you can go to the account, check the settings, click on the Who Am I Observing, and then add additional students. Here are two links that give you a little bit deeper dive into should you need to do that to add additional students. It really is very self-explanatory once you're in the system. And again, what can I do as an observer? There is a good sized list as we reviewed together today. Once you're in your student's course, in that dashboard, you click on the course you'd like to observe. You will be able to see their announcements, their assignments, your students, when things are due. There would be a to-do list, a calendar of what is due when, their discussions, and their grades. Just a word of caution, you are not able to participate in discussions or submit assignments on your students' behalf, but you will be able to monitor all of these things. And I do understand that this may seem like a lot of information, and it is. However, rest assured, all of the answers, including the video we watched together today, along with a great deal more information, are all on the U46 website. And again, that address is up here. I'm sure many of you have already accessed it, u46.org. But I did want to take a moment together today just to go through what is there in the event that you haven't had a chance to access that. So let's go there very quickly today. What you see here is the U46 homepage. And we're just going to scroll down just a bit, and I'm going to go down actually to the bottom very quickly as I remember. If you remember, I mentioned that you can access the Clever account in the event that you're on a U40 or a non-U46 device and you're trying to log into Canvas. That is right here, along with a number of other very helpful links, including that calendar I mentioned. We'll go back up to the top here, right next to our apples. And let's go into the back to school link. Here is where you'll find a great deal of information about our distance learning efforts. Once you're there on the back to school site, you'll see a blue bar at the top that includes a number of helpful links, including the webinars that you may have enrolled this way today, contact information, other resources, food distribution, etc. So in addition to the blue bar at the top, there's also a menu down the side here. We're in the back to school. We're going to be visiting Digital Classroom together in just a moment. There are also down the menu early childhood information, elementary through high school information, that very important A-B schedule in case you would happen to lose track of where you're at. Am I an A day or a B day? And what time does my student need to check in for elementary? Dual language information, etc., etc. There's a great deal of information there and helpful links. Within the body of the page, a great deal of the information you see on the left is actually embedded in here. But to begin, you'll see a history of where we've been with distance learning and some important updates. Some important information about students' well-being. Some of our learning updates for distance learning with particular expectations for students, an outline of some of the grading expectations, the student attendance policy, and some important vocabulary words or a glossary of terms that you're probably getting very used to using, particularly the word Canvas and Zoom, asynchronous, synchronous learning, or A days and B days, and infinite campus. With that, I'd like to dip into digital classrooms here very quickly, and you'll see that the page is set up pretty much the same as the other. There is the same blue bar across the top with the links. Down the left side here are really important links, and this information, the majority of it, is also embedded in the bulk of this page here. It just goes deeper into detail with the menu to the left. But let's quickly review this part together. Getting to class, there are links here that are also, you can also dive into on the menu, but there's a simple tutorial as to how to get into Canvas. So if your student is still struggling with how to enter Canvas, find their dashboard and their tiles, this is a tutorial they can watch. If you have questions, you can certainly access our Let's Talk here. If your student is having trouble setting up their Zoom on an iPad, you can follow the setup guide here. Additional device support and tutorials. Again, another avenue for accessing Canvas tutorials. Information on Infinite Campus and access to that. And again, a link to our U46 webinars, just like the one you're on now, and you'll be able to see future webinars there as well. I'd like to take a little bit deeper look into the Accessing Canvas. It's an important link. And there's that red sunburst. Explains how we started the year, the role Zoom is playing, what you should see when you enter Canvas. Here it talks about what we've reviewed together today, how to access Clever or the Waffle so that you can get to Canvas. Again, getting to class, Let's Talk questions, something that can help you if you are in need of anything in terms of getting questions answered. And here we have the video that we watched together in terms of becoming a parent observer. There's also a video about getting into that dashboard and into the course itself, how you can navigate. These are in English and Spanish. How you can begin to receive notifications if you are a parent observer. And then logging into Canvas additional support video if your student is struggling with that. So these videos can be very helpful indeed. In addition to the Accessing Canvas, there's just all kinds of support for devices. Here's some contact information in terms of a device. You can email our help desk or give them a call. Here's the number. And again, there's nothing like watching a video time and time again to finally get it right. And here is how your student can find their email and password. That can be a challenge. Student resources for Chromebook. Here's just a lot of tips and tricks on what you can do with that. Getting started with the Chromebook if you're struggling with that or your student is struggling. Connecting your Wi-Fi with the Chromebook. And again, what we covered today together is logging in to Clever in order to access Canvas if you're on a non-U46 issued device. Some of those student use of technology expectations. And again, particularly for all of you elementary folks, accessing Canvas and Zoom and enrolling into the iPad so you can support your elementary student. All very helpful videos and links. Again, one of our most popular questions is, I forgot my password into my email. This again is a video that will help support those efforts. Same with getting into Infinite Campus, and Infinite Campus is extremely important. That houses the student's official grade. So here's an access to getting your login and password if you or your student is struggling with that, and how to navigate around once you get in to Infinite Campus. And again, Infinite Campus is extremely important. It will house your student's official grade. Lastly, some of you probably may have accessed today's webinar via this avenue, and these are our U46 Engage webinars. You will see the one for next week, which is engaging students in distance learning. I'd like to invite you now to join us again next week. And then the following week, the week of September 16th, we'll have a webinar on self-care for parents and for caregivers. And these provide links so that you can register for those. So as you can see, there is a great deal of information here for you to access on the U46 site. Before we come to a close here today, I did want to provide you with just a couple of other resources. These are links to a video tutorial. It's about 4 minutes long. It will help your student if they may be struggling with navigating once they enter their dashboard, how to get around their courses, perhaps how to submit assignment, take a quiz, or reply to a discussion. And the wonderful thing about these links is these links and a great deal more is that you can really become your own best resource and access these things yourself. There is this wonderful search engine called Google. And if you put into Google, and I'm sure many of you have discovered this, how do I submit a Canvas assignment? And what will come up is the Canvas community. This Canvas is a very widely known learning management system. Let me show you what I'm talking about here. So I'm going to go to how do I submit an assignment? And the link I've provided you here, and one that you can easily access, goes to the Canvas Learning Management System website. And I will say, once you get there, it does not look very friendly. It's a lot of words, but give it a chance. Scroll down. Here's our question we asked it. How do I submit an online assignment in Canvas? Scroll down, and then it gets a lot more friendly. You'll get screenshots of exactly what you and your student are seeing. Here is assignments. You can view the assignments that are due. Really does a nice job of outlining what you would see. You'll see that blue submit assignment button, which oftentimes you may have discovered doesn't cooperate maybe the first time. It can be a little bit slow and you may need to redo, perhaps go back to the home page and try again. Your teacher may give students the option to resubmit an assignment, or it will tell you to resubmit if something didn't go right for you. But once you've clicked that, it should have gone through. But again, there are different ways to submit assignments, and this particular site does a great job of outlining that. How you choose a file to submit and upload. Some of the assignments are merely just reply and submit in the text box within Canvas itself. You may need to link a website for your older students, most likely. You might need to submit a recording. And then finally, you'd click that submit assignment. And once that goes away, you have successfully submitted your assignment. Again, this particular site, the Canvas that we're living in, is not particularly attractive once you enter, but give it a chance, scroll down a little bit, and then the screenshots are really great. And you can also access a number of videos. So I would again encourage you to be extremely resourceful, as I'm sure many of you have, in terms of finding your own answers. With that, as we reach the conclusion of our presentation, I'd like to share just a few hints or suggestions as to how you might support your student. And we've all heard a lot about this growth mindset, but it really is important for all of us during this time to keep a growth mindset in mind. And one of the most powerful ways that parents can really model this idea of a growth mindset is by being willing to fail and eager to learn from setbacks themselves. And when parents talk positively about the mistakes they make or the mistakes their students make, students will really start to think of mistakes as part of the learning process, which it certainly is. And encouraging your students to work hard and put in the time and effort and practice needed are really lifelong skills, as you know, and are really important to their development. This is my first webinar, and I really am so thankful to Carla and Amy for their patience. We're all learning, patience with me, I should say. Additionally, I want to encourage you to communicate with your student often about their grades and assignments, and perhaps share in their excitement about some of their excitements. Really be involved in what they're learning and take an interest in those assignments and projects and that content that they're learning. Additionally, I'd like to remind you to encourage your student to communicate with their teacher and resist contacting the teacher yourself, and only really when necessary, but the student should be the first line of contact there. Furthermore, and this one's really difficult for all of us as parents, is resisting that urge to provide your students with all of the answers can really be difficult. And it really is important to allow your students to struggle with the content. And excuse me, your students' struggle, pardon me, is providing your teachers important information that they need to determine their own next steps with your students. Your students' work is informing their instructions, and teachers really expect students not to have all of the right answers. That's what learning is. And finally, this idea of to give grace. This phrase has really become the mantra for so many during this season that we're all living in, with the rush to put distance learning in place and support teachers and support students and support parents and all of the stakeholders at the time. It really is so important that we make a conscious decision to give grace to everyone. While everyone is experiencing this for the first time, we just can't forget to be kind and patient and really even forgiving. Everyone is doing their best, and we're all learning, and we really are all in this together. With that, it has been a pleasure speaking with you this morning, and I'd like to turn it over back to Carla at this time, and we will entertain your questions. Thanks again.
Thank you, Lori, for this very helpful information. Again, this is only our first webinar on Canvas, and we hope to bring you more about this tool. We are gathering the feedback from the questions that we've had in this webinar to see what else we need to bring to our families. You will receive via email a copy of this recording and a copy of the presentation in PDF format with the links available. In the email, you are also going to find the survey, a link to our survey. So please take a moment to complete that. The survey also gives an opportunity for you to provide your contact information in case we're not able to answer your question today. You think of other questions later on, or if you need a follow-up. So make sure you include your contact information there, and we will make sure to go ahead and give you a call or contact you by email. Also, make sure that you visit our U46 Engage webinars page to see our upcoming webinars and register for those. Right now, we have 2 additional ones registered, one on distance learning and one on self-care. So visit that page for those dates and times and to register. We will continue adding more through the fall. And then the link to our digital learning website, it's a good one for you to have bookmarked on your computer. Here is where we will keep you updated on the distance learning tools and information. And Lori is available via email if you need to reach out to her directly. Here's her email. So now we'll go ahead and move on to questions. So please enter those in the Q&A option that's located at the bottom of your screen, and we will get to those right now. Our first question is, so do we use this instead of IC? IC is Infinite Campus.
That's an excellent question. The Canvas is where all of the course information is, and it is essential that your student access it every day, just like I said. Infinite Campus is where your students' official grades will be. You can also see their attendance there, just like you could before. So make sure to use the Infinite Campus as an avenue for accessing where your student is at in terms of their final grade in the course. And you can still continue to receive notifications through Infinite Campus. Amy, did you have anything to add to that?
Nope, that was about right. You can see all
Okay.
the work in Canvas, but official grades are in Infinite Campus.
Okay.
Any other questions? We answered one earlier for the observer accounts. Can you have multiple students linked to one email address? Yes, and so those links that we have been providing will guide you through that process on how to add multiple students to that. Can you go over on how to find their asynchronous schedule?
There's a couple different ways that you can access that. For the most part, most of the school sites have the schedule. There's a couple different places you can access the calendar via quick links, I believe. And also, if you go to that distance learning page, I believe it's the 3rd button down, there's an elementary schedule, and there's also the A/B calendar. And that calendar, you can actually, it's a PDF, you can print that out. And I would encourage you to do that if you can, print it out in color because it's really clear in terms of A/B days then. I hope that answers your question. It's a really good question. It's easy to get lost in that.
Any other questions? Where would I go for grades for assignments?
You can go a couple different places. You can access Canvas, and teachers may provide feedback through Canvas and their specific grades. But as we emphasized, the place that is the official grade for student progress is via Infinite Campus, as we've always done in the past. I hope that answers your question.
And in Canvas, if you look on the side navigation, there should be a word there that says grades. That's where you're going to find the grades for your students in Canvas and kind of feedback on the different assignments that they get.
How do you access Canvas on an iPad? And so I will go ahead and answer because I do have a kindergartner who has an iPad. And so you have to go to the catalog folder on your iPad. Don't go to the App Store. Go to that catalog folder, download the Canvas icon. It'll take a little bit. And so you just download that, add it to the bottom of your iPad so your child can easily click on it. It's so easy for my son to click on it, and then it automatically takes him to his teacher's homepage, and then he clicks on the Zoom link. Make sure that you use your student's email, their Gmail, their student Gmail account to enter their Canvas account on the iPad. The other way you can do it is downloading also the Clever icon. And you can, don't forget to ask for your badge, the little, code that you need to enter Clever. And then from Clever, as Lori showed earlier, then that's where you can click on Canvas and access it through in that way.
So there's various ways on the iPad as well. I have saved both on my favorites for my son's iPad to make it much easier for him. So that is how you would access Canvas on an iPad. Another question that we have here is is there a way to see all to-do items across all assigned courses?
Amy, maybe you can answer that different, but as far as I know, you have to go into each course.
So the other option that you do have is you can click on calendar on the very far left-hand side. There's a calendar button. You can click on that, and then you could highlight all of the different courses that a student has, and it'll show you everything in the calendar that's assigned, as well as everything that's showing up in their to-do list in that section. So that's a good place to look if you want to kind of see everything all together.
Great. Next question, how can I tell which days are red days versus blue days and when classes actually meet?
There is an A-B schedule on the website. I pointed that out, and there's actually a PDF of the calendar that can be printed out. As far as I know, it's also on most of the individual school sites, the A-B day, but if not, it is on the U46 page. Print out the calendar for the year.
Okay. I set up the Canvas app on my phone and was able to add all 3 of my students. However, when I tried to do it on the web page, I was not able to get in at all.
So for the web page, we need I double check the address that you're using, because students go in through a different address than parents go in. So maybe just double check that address that you're using, the login /Canvas. That might be the hiccup. That would be my guess. If the side wasn't working, but the app was.
So I did include that link in the chat box, so make sure that that's the link that you're using for that parent login, if that's what you're referring to with your question. So it is a u46.instructure.com login Canvas, as Amy mentioned. It would be helpful if each tile was somewhat uniform to decrease the confusion for students. Each teacher is using modules, assignments in different ways. Some are embedding Google Classroom into Canvas and other websites as well. I think we touched on that, you know, all teachers, we're trying to be consistent among all teachers, and so they're continuing to receive professional development as they also learn this platform. It's a new platform for all of us. And so I think as they feel comfortable, more comfortable with it, they'll push more of their resources towards Canvas. So we greatly appreciate the patience that our parents have had through this as well. Can I use the Canvas app and log in as a parent?
So that one I note, there are different apps. Students and parents and teachers all have different apps. So you would have to download the appropriate app. So if you need the parent app, you need to download the parent version. You can't use the one that's already on your students' iPads.
Okay. Does the parent observer give more information than the child's Canvas page? I'm not understanding the importance of the observer page.
So I can help answer this one also. So the observer and the student views are pretty much the same. The only thing an observer can't do is like submit assignments for the kids. So if you have a young elementary child at home, you're probably in the student account with your child and helping them through. So in that case, the observer role probably is going to be the same as a student role for you. It's for those upper grades where you're not involved in your student's class and you're not sitting there with them. It's still a way to give you a view of what's happening in that class. So that observer role is more important in the upper grades.
Trust me, having a high schooler and a kindergarten, totally different. Infinite Campus would alert me in prior years about my child's missing work, middle and high school. Yes, it would. Does Canvas do that for parent observers?
Yes, it does. There's a way for teachers to push messages out for anything that's missing for the observers as well.
You just have to make sure you set it up in your notifications. So, and be ready for all the notifications in secondary school, kids, because you do receive those. Is there anything still in Infinite Campus that I should be checking academically? Grades, homework turned in, upcoming assignments that is not in Canvas?
Infinite Campus will house the official grades. In Canvas, it's the individual projects, and it would not be inaccurate at this time. So Infinite Campus is really important to go in and check the student's grade, final grades, all of those summative assessments. Mm-hmm.
Hello, where can we find those links? I'm assuming you're referring to the links that we've shared through the presentation. And so some have been included in the chat box. And then we will also follow up with via email to the email that you use to register for this webinar. And so we'll send those links to that one. Sometimes the submit button on Canvas Cami doesn't work. Are there any tips other than retrying multiple times?
That one I'm not sure. I would just keep trying, or maybe leave it and then come back in and hit the submit button. Sometimes technology just isn't our friend. So just keep trying.
On the iPad, we needed to submit a video today, but when I clicked on the record buttons, it said I needed Flash. Is that something we can add, or should it already be added? Flash player.
So I saw that question come through. I wrote that down. I will go take that to our technology department tomorrow morning and figure out if that's something we need to push out to the iPads, and we'll take care of that tomorrow if needed.
Okay. Thank you, Amy. Is there a way to change the view on an iPad to mirror that of a computer? No. No, that's
different than the web version.
Mm-hmm. How does my third grader submit an assignment if there is no submit button? Assignment to read a book and write about it. The link goes to the book. I assume Google Doc and email to teacher for every book, 10 assigned.
Teachers don't necessarily have everything be a manual submission through Canvas. Sometimes it's just an assignment, go please read a book for a little bit. And if their direction is just to record something in a Google Doc, that might be how they are doing that for now.
Can a parent observer receive notifications for missed assignments?
Yes, teachers can push that through Canvas for you.
So what would we need to go for Infinite Campus for, to Infinite Campus for?
Infinite Campus is going to be the official grade book, the grade of record for the students. So Canvas is where you can see your students' work, see what they're doing, what it looks like, what's happening in the class. But for the official grades, that will be in Infinite Campus.
When we try to switch from learning modules, our Chromebook seems to freeze. Is there an easy way to switch from the modules back to the assignment portal without completely signing out and signing back in?
So I haven't heard that one, but you don't necessarily need to jump from modules to assignments. You can go, I would go from modules back to home and see if that works better, because assignments and modules usually have the same things in them. So try, if you're in modules, try going back to home instead, see if that helps you.
A teacher has removed the assignments tab and only uses modules.
There's different ways that the teacher can set up that side navigation, and they just put what their students need. So if they put everything within modules, they don't necessarily need that assignments tab. So the assignments would be embedded in the module. So they try to set up that side navigation to just have what the students need, so they don't have extra clutter and things that they don't need to access.
Teachers are not using the calendar feature for either of my children. Should this be a resource I can use to help them determine if they have all assignments completed?
So I think that's a learning curve for our teachers. So they need to put an actual due date in there for it to appear in the calendars. And some teachers just aren't putting a due date. I'm assigning it today. I'm not going to give it an end date. So it's kind of just an assigning feature. So sometimes assignments will not appear in the calendar. Yes, I think just watching what's happening in the classroom and what the assignments are in the actual course card, that's probably the best way to go for what needs to get done.
Where do you view comments from teachers in the app on your phone? We keep getting messages saying teacher made a comment, but the app is not showing any comments.
It sounds like that would be a comment on an assignment. That would probably be seen under grades. Click on grades in that side navigation. That's where you can see feedback on the assignment. If you don't see grades in that side navigation, maybe send an email to the teacher. Ask them to put that in the side navigation so you can see that.
Okay. Where can I check that my student's work has been graded?
Again, that would be in the grades navigation. Teachers might not have put that up in the navigation yet since they're just getting started and they're practicing using tools. So that might show up in the navigation in the next week or two. But if it's not there, you can ask the teacher to make it visible for you.
Okay. Our son's teacher instructed us to take a picture of his assignment from our phone and send it to his student email and then download it to his Google Drive. But when we send it to his email, it won't go through. We get a message saying that the email does not accept emails from public internet. And that's correct. Our student email cannot receive any emails from external emails outside of, u-46.org. What we recommend is that you download the photo maybe to a USB or flash drive and then upload it to the computer and email it like that. After clicking submit, I notice you can't make any more changes. How can I do so? Sometimes it doesn't let me even after I unsubmit.
So I guess it depends on the type of assignment. So some have an unsubmit button and then you can edit it right away. Some of them the teachers might need to release. So I guess I would have the student email the teacher and make sure that it gets released so that they can edit it again.
How do assignments get recorded in Canvas? One of our children has submitted assignments we have watched, yet it does not state turned in. How do we know if something is done or missing, if notifications aren't updated when assignments are turned in?
So for some assignments, they disappear in the to-do list when they're turned in. Others, it waits for the teacher to actually go in and grade it and marked it as turned in. It depends on what the assignment was and what tool they were using. So if you saw it submit, it's submitted for them. It'll either disappear from the to-do list or else once the teacher grades it, it'll have submitted.
Can the parent ask for the pairing code for the student?
So you'll have to go into the student's account. There's nobody to ask, you just have to go into the student's account manually. Again, in settings is where you can get a pair observer code. It's over on the right-hand side. And then we'll reshare those directions with you as well.
Is there a way to set up the Chromebook to print our home printer? The teacher asked us to print a page, but we're unable to do so from the Chromebook.
No, teachers should not be asking students to print anything. There are no printing options from the Chromebooks at all.
A few days ago, some students started a chat on Canvas with very inappropriate language. My daughter was added to that chat. How can I avoid so it won't happen again?
So the chatting feature isn't turned on Canvas. There's a discussions part in Canvas that the teachers monitor, and they can delete and handle posts that way. if you're talking about the Google chats that are separate from Canvas, we've already worked on that at the district to kind of disable some of those chat features.
Teachers are making me flash a paper assignment and make a video of it to submit it. This is mainly for my first grader. Can we take pictures of the paper assignments? Making a video a piece of paper is a little tricky.
Yes, a picture would be fine for you to submit.
Can parent observers see emails between student and teacher? If yes, how?
My understanding is they can't see the inbox.
Yes, there's the inbox on the side, very far side navigation. I would look in there and I think you can see that.
In Canvas, under notification, it asks for blueprint sync. What is that?
So a blueprint sync is something that we send to teachers if we're sending them additional information, just that something got added to a course. So I think that's a setting in your notifications that you probably don't need to get. So I would encourage you to, if you go into your settings in your account, you'll be able to find notifications. You can customize what you want pushed to you. So that notification just means that administrators push some extra content into the course for the teachers. So if you don't want to know about those things, you can kind of start turning off some of those notifications.
If you disable chat in Google, how do they chat in Canvas again?
So there isn't a chat feature in Canvas at all. There is a discussions where teachers can post prompts and students have to reply to it. But there's no chatting feature within Canvas.
Are we supposed to be using Canvas to communicate or Gmail?
So it will work. They, if you use Canvas, it will send a copy to the teacher's Gmail account. And or if students use it to communicate, a copy will still go to their Gmail, so you can use either one.
When submitting, you can hit submit multiple times, but the teacher still marks it late. I have had my child share the document and screenshot and email to avoid being marked late. Can this be fixed so it doesn't continue to hurt student grades?
So I'm not quite sure about that one. That one sounds like something you might need to work with the teacher or the school with on that time when and being marked late.
So grades from Canvas should be the same in Infinite Campus. If they are different, do we then go back to the teacher and ask?
The grades in Infinite Campus are going to be the ones that are correct and accurate for the grade book. So those are the ones you're going to use as the official grades. They might look a little bit different in Canvas, just the way that they calculate. But since we're standards-based, the standards-based scores are going to be on the Infinite Campus side.
On the August 17th presentation on reopening the school plan, I saw that there is an SEL focus to begin the year. What does that mean?
That means it stands for social emotional learning, and the teachers have been receiving professional development in terms of how they can best support their students during this time, really developing positive relationships. The webinar next week is a focus on those social emotional, or not next week, but the following week, right, Carla? More on those social emotional supports.
Yep, in 2 weeks, we will have that.
Yeah, so really building strong relationships with students and being extremely positive during this time. And developing a relationship online is much different than trying to develop one in person. So making teachers more savvy in that area.
Someone shared that there's some great Canvas YouTube videos on how to set up Canvas under the parent site yes, if you Google Canvas, you will come across many great resources. We highly recommend that you do that. We have tried to create and share as much as we can also on our distance learning site. And so, you know, the key thing is that teachers misuse Canvas. And as we've mentioned, we are continuing to work on that. Thank you. So one of the questions is, when trying to access a Zoom link in Canvas, they keep getting the message access denied. This has happened the last 2 days. They must load it and from setting and then click on the previous day's Zoom link. How can this be fixed so we can access Zoom through Canvas?
So it sounds like the link might not be working on the Canvas. I would ask the teacher to repost the link, maybe some setting changed. So I would ask the teacher if she can just repost that link in Canvas for you if it's not working.
Someone is asking, and they may have to send us more information here. Math pages that you have to copy a URL page to submit, 8-year-olds are struggling with this.
So that shouldn't be how they need to submit everything for you. The math assignments should be loaded for you as CAMI assignments. So we can work on that and get that fixed for you so you don't have to be doing URLs.
Any more questions? Here are some like direct questions that we will answer.
I saw one about some teachers are having students submit work through other means. So Google Classroom, we're not encouraging that everyone should be using Canvas. However, there are other programs that do integrate with Canvas, such as Edpuzzle or Flipgrid. So students sometimes have to go out to Flipgrid and they submit work in Flipgrid. That comes right back into our Canvas. So sometimes students do work outside of Canvas and they submit work. So that can be okay. So don't worry if they're doing something like Flipgrid, because those things do come back into the platform.
Someone's asking about the chat box, that it was disabled, and that's the way that parents are notified. They have a 4th grader where the chat is no longer an option. So this was just a security effort that we did throughout the district after some incidents that happened. And so an email was sent out to all parents when these new changes were implemented. And so that's something that Zoom has put in place for us. And across the district, we've had to disable also the chat in the Google.
Zooms can be set up with the teachers where the students can still Zoom or can still chat with the teacher, with just the teacher only, not the whole class. So there is a way to communicate during the Zooms with the teachers still in the chat.
There was another question. Does the Canvas Observer account expire in a certain time?
Nope, it does not expire.
As parents need to be involved at all grade levels, so we need to be able to access at elementary, middle school level. Students do not relay their assignments to parents when they don't want to do them.
That is absolutely correct. That is one of the benefits of the observer role.
So make sure you sign in as the observer. My son's teacher cannot hear my son once all kids are on, so he has to chat his answers. This feature isn't going away, is it, in Zoom? So far, help desk teacher nor us can seem to fix this. I want to make sure my son can still participate in this way. Thank you. Yes, so no, it's not going away. The teacher just has to be able to enable that feature within her classroom. Okay. Thank you everyone for joining today's webinar. We greatly appreciate your time. We greatly appreciate your questions. Thank you to our presenters, Lori and Amy, for assisting us today. You will receive, again, a survey. In that survey, we did not answer your question. You will have the opportunity to enter your contact information, and we will definitely reach out again and follow up with you.